Hi, and welcome to a video out in the garden again. Yeah, welcome um to this next garden video. So I did one, I think it was about 2 weeks ago now. And so yeah, I had mentioned that I'm gonna start doing these videos probably about every 2 weeks throughout the summer, or maybe more often when the garden gets bigger and maybe there's more things to talk about and show and stuff. So if you're new to these videos and new to my channel, I am Renfroe, wife and mother of 9 children and a lover of Jesus. And so I do blogging over on my website and blog, and doing these YouTube videos, and then I've got a podcast as well. So kind of a little of everything. So I'm excited to have you here join me for this video. And so I'm going to be doing these garden videos over the summer to talk about my garden, to kind of just show what I'm doing in the garden, maybe just to make my gardening more fun. Because if I'm going to garden for my family anyway, why not do something that's going to make it more interesting for me? Because gardening is a lot of work. So that's the reasons I'm doing these. And of course, I'm going to be sharing spiritual stuff because that's what I do. That's who I am. I'm not going to be talking about doing a video or any kind of thing without talking about God in it. So yes, God goes right in the garden too. And when we are working in the garden, I'm going to kind of move the sun's in my face. I'm going to change locations. When we're out working together with the children and stuff, and we're always talking about a lot of different things, and spiritual Bible things is one of the things that we talk about when we work in the garden. And then that's what I do when I do videos. I talk about God. So have an update where we are in the garden. So in the last 2 weeks we got a lot of rain. It was kind of rainy and then dried a bit, and we got in and did some weeding. I talked about weeding a lot in the last one. How weeding is one of the essential parts of gardening to have a nice looking garden, but just for the plants to do good, and that a weeding is constant, ongoing job, big job, the weeding. So we did get in there and get some weeds, and then it started to rain again, and the more rain we seem to got, the bigger the weeds, the faster the weeds grow. So the weeds, it's really bad. I don't know if you can see here, I just went down with a tiller just before I come out to do this video, because those were the rows we couldn't do last week because they weren't up. We planted those things later. As beans, potatoes, we planted it later, and so we weren't able to get them weeded when we weeded the rest of the garden. And so I ran quick down there with a tiller, and but it was really almost too wet, and I think I transplanted the weeds. That's the problem of doing it too wet. When we weeded last week too, we pretty much just transplanted weeds, and that's all. So it's kind of where we're at with the weeding. So besides the weeds growing, we've definitely had some of our plants growing too. Really are growing, really are looking good. I'm gonna see if I can kind of show some of the stuff a little bit. I found out last time when I was trying to show my rhubarb, you weren't able to see my rhubarb. I was showing asparagus, you couldn't see my asparagus. Try to do better on that. Whoops. And yeah, I think you can definitely see some rows and some stuff there, right? And we got to eat our first spinach the other week, actually 2 or 3 times. Like, I've cooked it twice now, and then I used little baby spinach, baby lettuce, the little beet leaves, and the Swiss chard leaves, all that put in a salad. They make wonderful salad greens. So I had 4 different kinds right there: the lettuce, spinach, beets, Swiss chard, all really good. And my spinach, how I like to cook my spinach now, I didn't used to do that. I used to just boil it in some water, pour off the water, put in some butter and some salt. Now I've been putting a little bit of butter in the frying pan or olive oil, and I kind of just saute, I think that's the right word, the spinach in there, to stir it around and just cook it right in there, and don't boil it, the water. I think it tastes a lot yummier. It's a lot nicer that way. I enjoyed it. So that's what I did with the spinach. So gonna see if we can, the sun's gonna too, I don't know, you can see this, that's the spinach, and then you can see the onions and garlic, and yeah, everything is just really looking good. Start to see the carrots right here. We've got 2 double rows of carrots. That just makes more efficient space, because we need a lot of carrots. Instead of putting 4 rows, I've got my carrots in 2 rows. The only downside of that is it's really hard to weed, because as you can see, the 2 rows are 6 inches apart, really hard to keep weeded. But once the carrots get a bit bigger and grow, the tops get really, really thick, then they drown out the weeds. So that's great. That's what we kind of go for, just to try to weed until they get big enough to take over, and then we're good. So, yeah, there's the peas. Here's the carrots, the greens, some peas, beans, and the garlic and onions. We'll go back over to the asparagus. There really isn't much asparagus to show this time. With all this rain, what's cool, they don't grow too good. They seem better in the heat and sun. So I don't know if there's much show. And now they've got grass. I've talked about that I was really trying to attack these weeds in here real bad, and grass. And I went so many times, got wheelbarrow loads of grass out of the asparagus. And now, again, it's coming back, but it's been too muddy and I can't weed. So I've enjoyed it. See how the water's setting right here? It's just muck. So I didn't get a break from weeding, and I was really happy. I didn't even have to feel guilty. I mean, I knew the weeds were setting out there. I could see from the house the weeds growing up, or every time I'd go pick asparagus, it'd be weeds, but I didn't even have to feel guilty. It was wonderful. So there was an upside to all, and it was nice to have the rain, and it was really an upside to, like, you know, the weeds are out there, it's so soaking wet. I don't have to weed. Now though, I'm like, oh boy, okay, when it dries enough, we are gonna have a mess because everything has to be weeded at once. But none of these things are super bad because we've already weeded them. So yeah, I can't really show any asparagus right there, like, because it's just not, they're just not that good. I picked them yesterday. We pick them kind of every day. They're just not doing that well. I think it's cool. Look at my onions. You see the onions? Onions look really good. Oh, someone's not happy. Oh, you wanted to swing too? Oh, someone's fussing over there they both want the swing in the swing, my little ones. They both want to get in the swing. Right over there. Aw. So yeah, it's just real wet right here. So I'm going to talk about the garden a bit more. Okay. Back by the rhubarb. We've got happy swingers right there in the swing. Okay, the rhubarb. So we've had rhubarb crisp one time already, and I think it's ready again. If I got a really busy day, busy evening, I'm gonna run into town and get an early supper, and I don't know if we'll get to pick any do a crisp or anything. But we've got quite a bit more rhubarb. I could pick. I could do another crisp. Becca. And so I'm excited about that. It's nothing like fresh rhubarb crisp right from the garden. We freeze it too, but it's just different after it's frozen. It's nothing like straight from the garden. I just love it. The first crisp of the season. And I do want to show the corn patch too. Yeah, the corn patch, you can't even see the corn with all the weeds. It's beyond this little strip here, where a tree right here, that strip there. All the weeds. Okay, so what happened when it was dry enough, were we able to catch the other garden up and weed it? This was too wet. It's a lower portion, and when there's no way we could, he tried running the tiller right there, you can see, and it was way too wet and muddy. He couldn't till it, and so then we just had to leave it. And so now we're supposed to be getting a few days of dry before it rains again, hoping that we can weed that. And so it's just really bad. We can't even see the corn unless you get really close. And so, like, I've never had that weedy of a garden before, so depressing. I was like, my dad said he'd be ready to till it under and forget it. I remember him saying that when the weeds got away. He was really into weeding. He loved to weed himself, and he just loved to see a clean garden. It was a big deal. One of his big things was keeping a clean garden. And if he seen that, I know he'd be like, just till it under. Well, we're gonna try to get our corn. We're gonna salvage it. It's just too wet. We couldn't do nothing about it, so we're gonna get in there and try to get the weeds out in the next couple of days. And in the back, I told you back there was our potatoes and beans, and with all the rain, that's a really low area, much lower than this area. and it's underwater. It was underwater for a while, and I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know how our potatoes and our beans back there is even going to do, but we've planted couple rows of potatoes here. Some of those the Denison brown beans, I explained the Denison brown beans, it's been in the family for years. We planted just a couple rows here in this garden too. So we are hoping then that these are going to be a go if that back there is ruined, because it's still underwater. So it's never been like this. Last year, every year is different. Last year, this time of year, we were watering back there. We didn't even know it was going to grow. Like, we were pumping water out of a dugout over there to try to water it, to get it going. And it took a long time for it to sprout because it was too dry. We watered. And now it's sitting underwater. So it's almost a joke. It's like, okay, last year we were watering and now it's underwater. You never know. You never know one year from the next. It's just wild, the weather, right? It doesn't matter where you live. I think that's the way it is. Every year is different. The weather is wacky. You got to take it. Yeah, whatever comes our way, right? We do our part, and God gives increase. That's some of the verses I want to talk about. Is I know it's talking about in the spiritual aspect of that one waters, one plants, and then God is the one that gives us the increase. And so it's spiritually we all work together, the unit to spread the word and everything, and God is the one that gives the increase. But in the garden terms, that's kind of, we do our part. We do our planting and our weeding and our watering if we need to, or whatever, and God is the one that gives increase, and we just leave it in his hands. There's a verse that I wanted to read that was about that too, and I was thinking about that garden back there that I don't know if it's going to turn out when it's all underwater. So here's a verse in Habakkuk 3:17 through, let's see if I can get it right now. Probably it's better. Okay. Although the fig tree will not blossom, neither shall fruit bear in the vines. The labor of the olive shall fail. My paper's all bending. And field shall yield no meat. The flock shall be cut off from the fold, and there shall be no herd in the stalls. Yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will joy in the God of my salvation. So it's saying, even if these things don't turn out, I'm still going to rejoice in the Lord. Wow, and that's the way we still are going to praise the Lord no matter what. If things don't turn out the way we would hope. And here is that again in Isaiah 61:11. For as the soil makes the sprout come up and a garden causes seeds to grow, so the sovereign Lord will make righteousness and praise spring up before all nations. Wow. Isn't that beautiful? So even as the soil makes the garden come up and sprout, the Lord will make his righteousness and praise spring up before all nations. He's the one that puts the joy in our step and a song in our lips. God. I had that verse that I mentioned there. I didn't know I had that one written down too. That one is in 1 Corinthians 3:5-9. Who is Paul and who was Apollos, but ministers through whom you have believed, as the Lord gave to each one. I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase. So then he who plants is anything, nor he who waters, but God who gives the increase. Now he who plants and he who waters are one, and each one will receive his own reward according to his own labor. That's what that verse was. 1 Corinthians 3:5-9. Yeah, we do our part, and God is the one that gives the increase. So I'm excited about the garden, and we'll just keep doing these videos throughout the summer. I do hope you find them interesting, and contact me if you want to have any questions about anything. Or in the fall, then when I start putting out vegetables, I do freezing a lot, canning. It's just a lot. I do a lot of pickles. I used to do green bean pickles, the eat 'em all peas, as I call them, the eat 'em all peas. We would make them pickles, and the dill pickles. Sometimes we even pickled the asparagus. We don't have that much this year, but I'm just like, all these pickles, sure, I enjoy them, but it's just a lot of work. Man, you know what? We can live without green bean pickles and pea pickles and all these pickles. But if I end up finding energy and extra time, I wouldn't mind showing how I do that. And if anyone has any questions, and I will be showing you how my garden is going and talking more spiritual insights as they come to me. Back there was my raspberry patch. I don't know. You see, right by the asparagus is the raspberry patch. So we get a lot of raspberries from that. We have strawberries too, but they're in a wet area over there, and so the strawberries, I went and weeded them. Their weeds were coming up really bad, and pulled the weeds out so they may have a chance. But then now they were underwater for a while too. Not sure how the strawberries are gonna do or not, but okay, I think that wraps it up for this video of this garden. And yeah, I'm gonna be eating some more goodies from my garden soon. The more spinach and stuff. Some spinach came up on its own from last year too. I have a section right in the middle of a bean row where they came up, and I was marked them off. I'm like, nobody till there. The spinach came up from last year, and now we can just go and pick it, and that's really cool. That's right down that row, right down there. Oh, I was gonna show one more thing. This plastic frame behind me. I think you've seen it in the last one. I didn't explain that. Okay, and that one we actually had our plants in there, our sprouts. Before we put them in the garden, we started them down in the basement. It was really cold, and then it was warm enough. We put them out in here and took advantage of the sun and everything. And when it got real hot, we propped it up. So I do have some stuff in there, but nothing that needs to be really planted in the garden. We've already planted everything out of there, like our tomatoes were in there, our cabbage plants were in there. So a bunch of little things. Now the kids have planted. They have started some apple trees and stuff just for the fun of it. Some little plant orange, I think, or lemon plants, and they're under there because we ain't really gonna plant them out. So they're just under there, place to put them. So that's what that is. Yeah, I think that was it. I had squash plants planted here. Oh boy, the sun again. But they're not coming up, so I might just till it under and forget the squash there, because it's getting a little late now. But yeah, okay, I will update you on the next one, and stay tuned for more stuff that I do. I do lots of other things on YouTube and stuff. I have a little summer series that I just started, Hope from the Cemetery. So I go down to the cemetery here near me, and I did 2 videos. I just uploaded the one so far, and I'm going to be doing that this summer too. So you can catch me on different things, and where I share hope and encouragement, and to draw closer to the Lord. And so yeah, okay, see you on the next one.